Hi, my name is Liam, and welcome to the Local Guy Liam channel here on YouTube, dedicated to all things New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I'm lucky enough to live here, so I can give you all the best information and the inside scoop on all the best things to see and do, whether it's your first time here or you've been here many times before. I can help you make the most of your trip and make it most enjoyable. So follow along Local Guy Liam to stay in touch with all things New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Okay, in this video we're going to cover beach pro tips. Maybe you say, why do I need pro tips for going to the beach? What's the big deal? Well, in New Smyrna Beach, whether you know it or not, you can drive on the beach here. It's one of the few places in the country you can drive on the beach. There's a lot to know before you do that. It's not complicated, but still a lot of good tips that we can give you to make the most of your experience so you're ready for it. Whether you know where the ramps are to get onto the beach, you know where the parking's at, we're going to cover all that on these videos. There's a series of 3 videos all together. This is part 1 of 3. We're going to cover the Volusia Beaches app and some other information that'll be helpful to you. So stay tuned. So the first thing we're going to cover, there's 2 apps you want to add to your phone before you come. The first one has to do with the tide schedule. There's an app called Tides Near Me, which will give you tide information anywhere in the country as far as any kind of tides, high and low tide times for anywhere around. So choose New Smyrna Beach when you get into the app. Once you download it, select New Smyrna Beach. It'll give you the tide schedule for, I think, at least a week in advance, maybe more than that. It's good to know because when you're driving on the beach, typically you can't drive on the beach during high tide. So you got to plan your visit around that tide schedule. So download Tides Near Me. That'll give you a good heads up on the tide schedules. Second app you need is called Volusia Beaches. This is an app that a lot of people who live here don't even know about. I use it every time I come to the beach. It gives you all the information you need to know about getting on the beach. Most importantly, the vehicle access ramps. Whether they're open or closed, which ones are open and closed. There's 5 altogether. We'll cover all that, but the Volusia Beaches app will give you all you need to know about getting on the beach, parking near the beach, everything you need to know about the beaches. So download that now. Okay, we got into the Volusia Beaches app. This is the main menu here. We're going to go through all these items across the next couple videos, whatever. Cover them, do a deep dive when we need to. Again, this will help you plan your day at the beach and get access to the beach, especially whether it's vehicle access or parking or whatever. We're going to cover it all here. So today we're going to start out with the beach cam. We want to see how the beach looks. Maybe it's raining where you are or cloudy. You want to see how it looks on the beach. This gives you a live webcam feed of the beach, New Smyrna Beach. This is the camera from the lifeguard tower just south of Flagler Avenue. If you see cars coming and going, they're going on Flagler Avenue there. This is, again, a camera facing north. It's a live camera 24/7. It gives you a shot of the beach, how it looks, and you can see how the tide is looking right now. I believe the tide, low tide may have been around noon. I think this is around low tide right now, so cars are still on the beach, obviously, and it's a Thursday afternoon, so it's not too crowded today, but there's obviously still activity there, but just gives you a good snapshot of how the beach looks. You can check that from wherever you are. That comes in handy. Next, we're going to cover, to me, what's the most essential part of this app that I use every time I go to the beach. Besides checking the Tides app for the tide schedule, we are going to check out the vehicle access here, which is a key. If you're looking to drive on the beach, that's obviously key to the access ramps. You're going to check their status. So we're going to click on vehicle access ramps here. We're going to filter down below to New Smyrna Beach, and we will list the 5 ramps that are available for vehicles in New Smyrna Beach. Again, this app covers all of Volusia County, so you're getting Daytona Beach in here and other cities in here as well. That's where the filter comes in handy. So these ramps here, there are 5 ramps in New Smyrna Beach for vehicles, listed north to south here, Beachway being the most northern, and 27th is the most southern entrance. These ramps, when you drive on the beach, To get on the beach is a $20 per day fee to pay, a cash or credit, either one, to get onto the beach. So all these locations. During the summertime, Crawford Road is only an express ramp for beach pass holders. You can buy a beach pass if you're a local resident or you want to buy a pass, but you cannot get one for a rental car. You have to be your own vehicle registration. But anyway, you can get, it costs $20 a day to get onto the beach. The Flagler Avenue ramp is the most popular. That goes through the middle of town and it's close to all the restaurants, bars, different kind of facilities. So a lot of people want to typically drive down that street anyway. It's the most familiar with, especially being from out of town. You may not know any other ramps exist, so they head down there. That ramp usually backs up the most, especially in the opening time, 8 a.m. These ramps are open from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. in the summertime, and the rest of the year they close typically half hour or a little more before sunset. They open at 8 a.m. every day, so there are people lined up a lot of times, especially on weekends. People will line up to get onto the beach and we get their favorite spot or whatever, and we get an early start. There will be lines typically, especially on Flagler. As you get away from Flagler, the lines get smaller typically, whatever. Again, Crawford is just for beach pass holders only. The rest of them are available to anybody. The beach is 5 miles. There's a drivable beach of 5 miles, and it's all contiguous, so you can drive from one end to the other. No matter what ramp you get on, you can drive the whole full length of the beach if you want to. Typically, the area around Flagler, say the Crawford entrance and the 3rd Avenue entrance, between that area is typically the most crowded. Again, because of Flagler Avenue has access to a lot of facilities and such, but it's just convenient for people to pull on Flagler and just take a close spot and you're there. So it tends to get more crowded in that area. 27th Street is the south end of the beach. You cannot drive on the beach south of 27th, so when you get on there, you can only head north. The Beachway Avenue ramp is the most northern, and at that point, you can drive probably another mile or so north from there. Goes to the jetty where the drivable beach comes to an end, and that's also where there's a lot of surfing done down that area, whatever, too. It's also much less crowded. You get on Beachway and go north, it's typically much less crowded than anywhere else. Looking for some space or some quiet time at the beach, whatever. Typically, you go north of Beachway, you're going to have plenty of space and it's less crowded. One thing to be aware of there is the sand can be softer, so if you're driving, you have to watch out for areas where the sand looks deep. If you're driving, because you can get stuck in the car, especially if you're not a four-wheel drive vehicle. Regular cars can get stuck in the sand sometimes, so keep an eye out. Just drive where the sand looks hard and firm. Otherwise, you can get stuck kind of like snow, where you kind of dig yourself in if you're not careful. So just be aware of that going north. Occasionally, in other parts of the beach, there's pockets here or there where the sand is soft. Just kind of be aware of that when you're parking too. Pull into a spot where the sand looks relatively firm, and doesn't look like people have had big divots there or whatever. May have gotten stuck there previously, but for the most part, the beach is that's not a problem. So I would say next thing to notice on here is we can click on the maps to find out where these ramps are located. So click on Flagler Avenue, for example. We'll show you exactly the location, and then you can get directions there as well. That's handy to find all the ramps. We're going to check the statuses. Right now, they're all open. It's a Thursday afternoon. They're all in green status, which is what you want to watch for when I check this app before I go to the beach. This is what I'm looking at. What's the status of the ramps? They're typically open, like I said, from 8 to 7. However, they close for high tide frequently because there's not enough room for the cars to drive. So they shut them down sometimes an hour before high tide, up to an hour after high tide. So be aware of that. Again, with the ocean and if the storms are going on, whatever, or hurricanes, anything, out in the ocean somewhere, it will create a higher tide than normal anyway. So be aware of the statuses watch out for high tide during the day, during the driving hours. That will shut down the beach. Other things that will shut it down, capacity. On a busy summer weekend, for example, or especially a holiday weekend, sometimes they will close the beach due to capacity. Just too much, it's full of vehicles, basically. And they may just close certain ramps. For example, Flagler may close first because it's the busiest typically, but they will close due to capacity sometimes. Typically, Beachway does not because there's a lot of space up that way. But always check the ramp statuses, see whether they're open or not. And I'll show some other statuses that are possible on here too. But the main ones to worry about are high tide or capacity. So before you head towards a ramp, check this app, check the statuses, make sure you're going to a ramp that's open. So that's key. I'm going to have also I'll attach a map of all these ramp locations to this video down below the video here. On the About section, I'll have maps attached for these for the beach area as well. There's a way you can get notifications for the ramp statuses. I'm going to go back here to the main menu. At the bottom, there's a ramp alerts. You can put your information in here to get notifications on the ramps changing status. I have not. This is a new feature, and I have not had any luck with this working so far. This is a fairly new app, so maybe working out some of the bugs, but I have not had success with this notification system yet, so I do not rely on it. It's something to be aware of, though. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. So again, it's something I use every time I go to the beach. Check the tides, check the vehicle access ramps, see what their status is. I think you'll find that to be super helpful, and yeah, works for me. Okay, next we're going to cover the driving rules and info. If you haven't driven on a beach before, or you haven't driven here before on the beach, you want to get familiar with the rules for driving. Usually they tell you when you're pulling onto when you pay your fee to get on, they'll tell you your headlights have to be on, window open, and no texting, 10 miles an hour. It'll tell you certain areas here what other rules there are. So get familiar with this before you come to the beach, so you know what to expect. And the beach passes, we talked about that a little bit. You can buy if you own your car, you're not a rental car, you can use your registration to purchase a beach pass. There's the local ones, there's combo for the parks and stuff too. But there are beach passes you can purchase if you're going to be, if you live in the area, for example. So that's another option too. Okay, that covers this section. So that's what we're going to cover for this video. We're going to have 2 more videos to cover the remainder of the app, and I hope that's helpful. Thanks. Well, I hope you enjoyed that review of the app, part 1 about vehicle access. I think that'd be very helpful to you. Again, every time I come to the beach, I check that out before I come to the beach. That and the tides. Be aware of both those things. We've got 2 more videos coming up. We're going to cover more detailed information about off-beach parking. If you want to walk onto the beach, there are several access points along the beach you can get on without driving on the beach. Cover everything about lifeguards, beach conditions, everything you need to know. So stay tuned for videos 2 and 3. Well, thanks again for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, I appreciate it if you click on the like button below, click on subscribe to follow all things Local Guy Liam, all things New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I welcome your comments below. If you have any questions about New Smyrna Beach or what we're covering in the videos, feel free to ask in the comments. Any suggestions for new topics you want to have me cover on future videos? But feel free to click on the subscribe below. I really would appreciate that. Be sure to follow Local Guy Liam on social media and stay in touch with all things New Smyrna Beach. There's a lot going on here, and I'll help you keep you in the know. So have an A1A day, and I will see you on the beach.